Okay, so hi everyone, welcome on board. Today I have with me here Abhinandan Kashyap, who is from BML Munjal University, and he has been a mechanical engineer who's worked in the industry and now has been working with 4 years of people joining and making their careers into engineering. So welcome on board, Abhinandan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anisha.
So before we, talk about engineering and all of them, why don't you tell me, your journey of working with after mechanical engineering, working with the industrial sectors, working with startups? How was the kind of exposure, post engineering, working in the real on ground industry?
Right. So, Anisha, right after I completed my engineering in the year 2012, because I did it from Punjab, so a very sort of let's say industrial town that we have in Punjab is Ludhiana. So
Yeah.
I went to Ludhiana, and there I started working with a company called Marshall Machines that was actually creating CNC machines. And CNC machines are used to create automotive parts. So I
Okay.
started working there, and I had not imagined that working in the industry is going to be so tough, because you have to literally stand the entire day when you're actually working in a factory or in a
Correct.
production space. So I worked in that sector for a few years, and then I started working for Lifelong India, which is near our university campus, near the BML Munjal University
Okay.
campus. It is in Dharpid. So Lifelong India makes handles and other equipment for Hero MotoCorp. Okay, so
Okay.
I worked with them for some time, and it was a great experience. I used to supervise an entire line there. So a lot of learning there, but then I had not imagined that it is going to be so physically rigorous. You're standing for 10 hours at a stretch,
Yeah.
supervising the entire line. So then a few of my friends, they were thinking of doing a startup in the pipe designing industry, which is essentially related to the oil and gas industry. So we did that, and I'm still doing that. So we did a lot of many projects which were related to Reliance and ONGC. We were like a third party vendor for
Okay.
these companies. So that turned out to be great. So obviously there were a lot of challenges, because we didn't know how to work with the 3D software. All of us, first of all, we learned that from
Yeah.
certain people, and slowly by and by we started getting projects. And I think now we're working really well. So the company goes by the name Epitome Engineering Projects.
Okay.
So it's a small time firm, but I think we are still doing good. And then
Wow.
I really saw a very good opportunity at BML Munjal University, where because I've always had the passion to speak to people and help solve their problems, because I've been earlier I've worked with certain NGOs which run excellence programs for personality development and all of that. So that sort of brought me to the BML Munjal University, and I think I've spent almost 4 years here. Started in the year 2017, and it's been a great journey, great learning. There's so many new things that are taking place in the industry. So I think I've learned a lot over the last 4 years.
That's amazing. So, like Abhinandan, you spoke about when you talk about engineering, then there's a lot of field work and industrial, which is there, which comes with mechanical engineering. So, like I was a computer engineer. For us, everything was, like a desk thing. You're sitting and coding and you're doing all of those things. So there are, but a lot of changes and, things evolving. Like no one does a normal computer science engineering now. You have to do either data science, analytics, artificial intelligence. So, with all
Absolutely.
of these things evolving, do you think the programs at the universities are also changing the curriculum, or are we still somewhere around, not aligned towards what the industry actually needs?
So I think, Anisha, it's a Herculean task. I always say that it's a Herculean task to match the pace of the industry. We already know that we are at the cusp of the industrial revolution 4.1.
Correct.
Earlier we used to say 4.0, now it's 4.1, and technologies like cybersecurity and Internet of Things, data science and artificial intelligence, they've completely taken over. No matter which domain you talk about, they have completely
Yeah.
taken over. So I think now the new age universities that are there, and even the premier institutions, engineering institutions that we are having in our country, they are slowly but very steadily moving in that direction of matching the pace that the industry has. And that is why most of the I would say institutions that are providing engineering programs, they've started giving specializations in areas like you said, data science,
Correct.
big data science, analytics, cyber security, digital marketing, internet of things, then robotics and automation, automobile engineering, and automobile engineering that is related to electrical vehicles.
Correct.
Like Tesla has completely
Yeah.
changed the entire scenario across the globe. So I think definitely the pace is a little slow, but it is definitely happening. And all of the, I would say, new age universities, they're pioneering this, I would say, change.
Lovely. That's actually really interesting. Like the way you mentioned it, it's a Herculean task. Definitely, you to bring about such a different, drastic change with so many new aspects and new things which are on board. So, when we say that this is changing in the curriculum and all of them, do you think a candidate who wishes to aspire or get into these programs or choose these specializations should do something before getting into universities, like right after 12th, and before you start? Is there some kind of a prerequisite for a candidate to be eligible for these programs?
So, Anisha, as far as eligibility criteria is concerned to get into these programs at BML Munjal University, or for that matter, any university, none of the universities, especially in India, they have not specified any prerequisite. Obviously, you need the minimum, percentage in your class 12, and you need a JE score, or universities have their own entrance exams, like we have our own entrance exam that is there, but none of the universities has, given any a list of prerequisites. But my understanding is that the earlier you start, the better.
True.
For an example, today morning I was speaking with one of my relatives, and he was asking about one of his relatives, a boy who has just passed out of class 12, and he has joined class 11th. He has taken physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So he was asking me कि क्या किया जाना चाहिए इसके साथ
Hmm.
जो है क्या किस डायरेक्शन में इनको जाना चाहिए. So I suggested that obviously he has 2 years to decide, develop a specific passion for himself. Maybe I want to do a bachelor of designing or a bachelor of engineering or something like that. But I said that before that he should start taking up short-term courses. जो
Correct.
like you said कि कोई
Hmm.
prerequisites हैं या नहीं, तो मेरे हिसाब से prerequisites हैं. You should start taking courses in, let's say there's so many courses available. You can take up courses in Python, you can take up courses in coding, digital marketing, website development, or for that matter, if you're really interested in, let's say, automobile engineering,
Hmm.
uh, you can go to let's say a repair shop in your city. Ask them that, take me as an intern
Yeah.
for a few months,
Yeah.
right? This is what I did for a 2 month training program when I was in my mechanical engineering program. I used to be really passionate about engines and all of that. So I had one of my relatives who runs a auto repair shop in my city. So I worked with him for 2 months. So
Lovely.
that kind of things, they'll definitely help, because whenever universities, they try to select you, even at BML Munjal University, or for that matter, any university in India or abroad, whenever they will select you for engineering, they'll really see that apart from having certain academic credentials, what have you done? What
Correct.
extra effort you have put in? Right? So doing these short-term courses today, the digital revolution, they've brought the world to, right in front of our screens. Right? So
Absolutely.
you can go to Coursera, edX, Udemy. There's so many platforms. Go there, do a course. If you don't like it, switch it. Do some other language. Try to experiment. These good 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, while you're in maybe class 8th or 9th or 10th or 11th, you have good amount of time, and you can experiment and understand that what is good for me and what I'm really liking. So I
True.
think that
True.
that
Very true. I think, one more aspect which Abhinandan just spoke about was, go out there and try practically learning, sitting at a repair shop or doing some internship. I think that's something which is very essential. If I go back to my engineering days, probably if something I would want to change is I realized it in my third year. Let's do some internships, let's explore. But, if we would have done it earlier, things would have been much more practical oriented when you actually get onto job. It's like you wouldn't need that shift from engineering to corporate when you're working. That industrial gap will not be there. I think even a lot of universities are taking in proactive efforts these days to have that connect established right in the curriculum, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, so that is one thing that you do certain courses before you are entering into the program, and then I think even when you're selecting especially if we talk about engineering, even when you're selecting the institution where you want to get into, I think you should always see certain things. And the very first thing that I would say is that what kind of ecosystem the university has. When I
Hmm.
say ecosystem, a lot of very good institutions, engineering institutions in our country, they were mentored by places like MIT. For example, BITS Pilani, it was mentored by MIT. The initial IITs, they were established with the mentoring of MIT and with the involvement of the Ford Foundation. I'm talking about the 1960s,
Yeah.
right? So, such mentorship, getting mentorship from such amazing places, the whole point is to bring global best practices to your university, to India, right? So, the very first thing that you should definitely check, even while selecting an engineering institution, is see that what kind of international alliances they have, what kind of ecosystem they have developed, how they have, how did the university develop itself. I think that is very important. That is the first thing. The second thing that they should definitely see is the industry connect, because engineering is all about practical orientation.
Correct.
Obviously, you will have to have a very solid grounding in theory, but then you will have to also develop all those skills that are required, related to a practical orientation. So, what kind of opportunities an institution is providing to you to develop practical orientation? That is very important. I think I would take the example of BML Munjal University. It's a Hero Group initiative,
Hmm.
and Hero doesn't need introduction. Hero Motocorp happens to be world's largest two-wheeler manufacturer. So they have adopted the concept of practice school, which is essentially a concept that originated at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So
Correct.
what happens in practice school is that the university has, let's say, X number of industrial connects. Like at BML Munjal University, they have more than 200 industrial connects. And
Hmm.
then there's a central body inside the campus which runs a practice school platform. And through the practice school platform, they try to provide meaningful internships to the students. And
Okay.
there are multiple internships. Throughout the BTech program, there are 3 internships. And the
Yeah.
internship starts on the first year itself. In the first year, it will happen for a week where you will sort of visit different industries and get a bird's eye view of how things happen in industry. You'll go and talk to people. You'll have sessions with professionals, so you'll understand that what kind of work culture is there. In the second
Correct.
year, at the ending of the second year, you have a 2 month internship where you work on a good project that is related to your area of interest or your strengths and skills. And then in
Okay.
the sixth semester or in the third year, you have a 6 month internship. Like you said that, in your CSE program, you had
Yes.
an internship. So there's a 6 month internship where a student is going to work on a full-fledged project under the mentorship of an industry professional. That is very good. In the practice school platform, it is really good that the student is going to get a defined mentor from the industry, is going to get a mentor from the university. So that is how the practice school platform is a little bit different from the other internship programs that are provided mostly at the engineering institutions. So it becomes a very high value output program, and a lot of our students, they get placed during their internship as well through a PPO, pre-placement offer.
I'm sure that
So
kind of also helps when, even new companies coming on board, if you're getting a candidate who's actually worked in different industry scenarios and setups, has a better adaptability, I would say, to, shift from an academic space to a workspace.
absolutely, absolutely. And for that matter, in order to develop that emotional quotient also, at BML Munjal University, and in fact, a lot of universities, new age universities, are doing this in order to develop that emotional, I would say, quotient, EQ in students. Students are made to work with NGOs.
Hmm.
Students at BML Munjal University, be it the School of Engineering or Management or Law, all of them, they have to mandatorily work with the NGOs that the Hero Group is running. There are 2 NGOs. One is Parivartan, the other
Okay.
one is the Ramankant Munjal Foundation. They work extensively in the rural areas around the university where there are underprivileged children who do not have access to quality education. So our students have been providing them quality education. Our students have been teaching these students. These students, I mean,
Lovely.
obviously, for the pre-COVID era. Now we have
Hmm.
started calling it an era. So before
Yeah.
the pre-COVID era, we students from these villages to the university campus, and our students were teaching them. And now it's a full-fledged NGO that our students have started. It's known as Savera. So they started with a handful of students, like 6 to 7 students, and now they stand at 200 plus. And many of these students, they have made it to Navodaya Vidyalayas and Kendra Vidyalayas, and they are doing really well. So I think that is also an opportunity that, like you said, that industries would love such people who have an emotional quotient as well, who have worked in different, seen different areas of practice, different domains they've seen. So they obviously become better assets for any organization.
Lovely. That was really great. So I think this has been a really interactive and a nice session with you, Abhinandan, where we, what we should be looking at, like after 12, to get onto it. Just don't sit there, make your 4 years of engineering fruitful.
Right.
Sometimes, you just end up into becoming the typical engineers who will have fun all throughout and just study before exams. So rather than just, doing it for clearing exams, you should get into all of these activities, like you mentioned, the industrial connect, building your emotional quotient in all of these aspects. So that's definitely a big wow factor.
Anisha,
I think is going to be there.
I just quickly wanted to add one more thing, that before entering, because essentially a lot of students who will be watching this video, they might be in that position to make decision that, okay, which institution I want to join.
Yes.
So I think a very advisable thing is that students should connect with the faculty of that institution. Now, a lot of new age universities, they're pretty much open to that. You should connect with the faculty members there. You should connect with the current students at that university, because to get the true picture of what is happening at this university, that would really help them, and that would also enhance their chances of getting selected.
Yeah, and it also kind of helps you to justify and get yourself to know which stream to choose, because that becomes, you've interacted with people who are teaching, who are studying, and you learn from their experiences as well. So that's really amazing. And thank you so much, Abhinandan, for all your time. And it was a pleasure to have you on board.
Same here, Nisha. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful session. Thank you so much. Stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.